If you'd like to get this and or any other Safari Ltd product, make sure to head over to www.safariltd.com and use the promo code KikiandCoffee at checkout, or use the link provided in the description to not only save 15% off of your next order, but you will also be financially supporting myself and the channel. So without further ado, what is up guys, it is KikiZilla101 here yet again, and welcome to One Take Reviews, a series we're going to be doing here on IGTV where we try to review a figure in one take. Now before we actually get into the review of this figure in particular, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a notice, because Safari Ltd, the company, has actually recently come out and expressed how they are struggling in this trying time of the coronavirus pandemic as a family-owned business, and they are basically reaching out and trying to rally up some support from their fans and their followers, as they really need our financial support during this time. So if you love Safari Ltd like I do, and you love their figures, then please consider supporting them at their website, safariltd.com, if you can at this time. It would really mean a lot to them, and it would really help make a huge difference in the lives of the people who work hard to make these figures a reality. That is why I actually recently made an order of 6 figurines off of their website, 3 of which are new 2020 figures. I'm going to be reviewing all 6 of the figures that I got, but we're going to be starting off with this Safari Ichthyosaurus from 2020. Now, this figure was easily my most hyped figure from the entire 2020 line. Now, I know that's not really saying that much given the fact that I wasn't really super excited about 2020. The reveal in particular was kind of disappointing, and the year isn't the strongest as a whole. But this figure in particular is a real standout. It's a very beautiful marine reptile model, and some of my favorite Safari Ltd figures are their marine animals. I think they do a really good job with these ones. Now, with this one in particular, I just really latched onto the colors, the really cute, bubbly, more blubberous body style, which is more accurate and up-to-date with the more recent studies on Ichthyosaurus and how they basically had blubber. So it's really cool to see a new updated figure that really looks the part to the more updated interpretations of the animal. But it is very simple, like most marine reptiles. It's a very smooth figure. Doesn't have a lot of detail to it. It does have the finer details towards the face to give it all the features like the nostrils, the ears, the mouth line, and the eyes. But other than that, I mean, there's not really much detail. There's a little bit of wrinkles around the fins to give it that more fatty look, which is really good. I think it really adds a lot. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to write home here in detail, but there's not really much that is required. Pose-wise, I really like it. It's very subtle, but it's got a nice upward swoop to the tail, which I think is nice, because I don't think you see an upward swoop to the tails very often in marine reptiles. I may be mistaken, but I think it looks really nice. It does give it a little bit more motion when you sit it down, and it also allows for some pretty cool photography and adds a little bit of more of a dynamic to the entire body as a whole. The detail that is here, I think it's really nice and finely done. The mouth, you don't really need much there. The teeth probably weren't showing. They had fairly small teeth, and they probably did have pretty big lips, but they're also, it's a closed mouth. Now, most of the 2020 figures that do have their mouths closed, and they all almost unanimously have this weird V-shaped cheek texture that's put on there. I don't know exactly what that is, like with this new theme that's coming from this year. Most figures, I don't think it looks that great on. This one, I think it's okay. It kind of gives it a subtle, like, chubby look to the cheek, which I think kind of works for the design of this one. So I don't really hate it here, but not a super big fan of it. I think we could have probably done without it. But then again, maybe it would have looked worse if it was just a straight line, but either way, I don't have a problem with it on this figure in particular. The color scheme's really nice, pretty well painted. It's got a lot of fading and this little sparkly effect, which is clearly because it's like sprayed on there, but I actually really like it. So no issues there. In terms of quality control, I do have 2 issues with mine, which is unfortunate, but then again, it's unavoidable with the 2020 line. Every figure unanimously has had terrible quality control. This is easily the worst year we've had from Safari in terms of quality control. I mean, there's just a really, not all of it's really bad, but just really consistent. It's just really consistent that all of my figures have quality control issues. All of my friends' figures from 2020 have quality control issues. And just all of the figures I've seen in general have quality control issues. But with mine in particular here, there's a little bit of a white line that comes up onto the top jaw right here. And not really too happy about that. I probably could fix it with a permanent marker or something like that, but definitely gonna have to figure out something. I'm sorry, my mother was talking really loud in the background, so I had to cut that out. But I did say we were gonna try to do this in one take, right? Anyways, the eye on this guy is really beautiful gold with this really nice white iris around the black pupil. I think it's a really beautiful eye. I really love that and actually really latched onto that very quickly with this figure. Unfortunately, on this side, that iris is just really stretched out, and I think it doesn't look horrible, but it just really damages the look, and especially from the front. Well, it does look better because you don't really notice that it's that long. I guess more so across the top. When you look at it, you can really tell that there's a difference between the two eyes. Yeah, it's just, I think it's really unfortunate. I really wish that this eye would actually have been properly done like that. So that quality control issue, there's not really much I can do unless I find a perfect match for the gold shade and I can paint around it, but that's going to be a pain in the butt. So that really sucks. The final thing I want to talk about with this figure is the accuracy. Now, it's pretty much spot on, like almost 100% accurate. I heard a couple of my friends suggesting that it might possibly have oversized eyes. That's definitely not the case. Definitely has correctly sized eyes after I've looked into it. And pretty much everything else is pretty much perfect. The only thing I can really note is the pectoral, anal, and dorsal fins. These ones all are slightly incorrect in shape. I really actually am a big fan of how round they are, because it's a really nice, more mammalian kind of shape that kind of makes it look blubbery. But they are technically wrong, because we do actually have quite a few Ichthyosaurus specimens that have preserved the flesh outline, and we know that in particular the dorsal fin was much more shark-like or dolphin-like. It actually had that concave shape here with a little bit more of a point towards the top. And with these pectoral and anal fins, a very similar thing, except the edges were definitely this round. The ends were that round, but on the inside it was more concave, so it had a little bit more of a swoop to it. So just imagine these both with a little bit more of a concave shape on the inside, and then you're basically spot on with accuracy. Another quick little mistake, forgot to do the size comparisons. So quickly, we have the Safari Ltd. Elasmosaurus and the Safari 2017 Chronosaurus. If you can see it, there you go. This guy's definitely a fairly large figure, but looks really good next to these other two. And finally, just take this out of the way. Here's our control size comparison. Safari Ltd. Eutyrannus. When it comes to me rating this figure, I love it. It's honestly one of my new favorite Safari Ltd. figures. I really like it despite the quality control issues, which are honestly holding it back for me. And I really want to give it a 10 out of 10. But for the quality control issues alone, I can't really give it a top 10. I can't really give it a 10 out of 10. I just don't feel like it's right, because it really damages it for me. But also, if you include the accuracy issues, which are very minor and I was going to ignore, but if you include those into the mix for things to hold against it, it starts stacking up a little bit. But yet again, I still don't feel like it's right to give this a 9 out of 10, because I don't think it's that low. I think it's almost a 10 out of 10. So, as much as I wanted to do just solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and not any decimal points for my newer rating system, I think I'm going to have to immediately break that and give this one a 9.5 out of 10, because it's so close to a 10, but it's definitely not a 9. So yeah, this guy's going to get a 9.5 out of 10 from me. Love this figurine, love it to death, can't recommend it enough. Honestly, have to say the objective best figure of 2020. No other figure comes close. to the quality of this one. I mean, it is a fairly safe bet because it is a lot easier with the detail, but can't go wrong with this one. So definitely recommend picking this one up. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye-bye.